said something I thought was rather important, and that most organizations, it's not uncommon for a lot of organizations to misunderstand what it means to ship to South America. I've got Venezuela, I've got Colombia, I've got Ecuador, I've got Peru, I've got Brazil, Bolivia, Chile. Is the rumor true, Demo, that each of these territories is in fact a separate country to themselves?
Yeah. Actually, you in this map, you're still missing a couple of other countries in this region. So because Central America and also the islands, many of the Caribbean islands are part of this region, as we call. So what happens, Mike, is that as you presented here, every country in this region is totally different from the cultural way, from the there are different languages spoken in every country. There are very different political ways of running those countries. Every one of those have a complete different rules and regulations that are different to the other. So these are very this is a 26, I think 28 countries, and all of those have their own complexities. So you put all that together, it's a very complex territory to do business, but it's still a great market and a great and growing market. So what happens is that typically global companies will choose to, okay, if we're going to have a mess, let's have it in the bigger country. So they go to Brazil and they go to Mexico, but the rest, they try to avoid going there directly because it's too complex. Again, you need to pass through different regulations, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Commerce, they are different. Everything is different. The laws are, it's a different thing. So what we do out of the Colón Free Trade Zone in Panama is that we can help these businesses to go to those markets in a smarter way.
Okay. So if I'm looking at this map, what you're saying, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and yes, Brazil, each one of those being a separate country, have separate presidents, separate leaderships, separate laws from one another, separate currencies from one another. And we haven't even touched on shipping regulations. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Languages.
And separate languages.
Cultures.
Cultures.
So, for example, you see Peru and Chile, they are just border difference, but they are completely different countries. The people, the traditions, 100% different. And that happened if you come to Panama and then you go to Costa Rica or you go to Guatemala. We all have in common that most of us speak Spanish, but even though our lingo is different,
right?
So we got, it's not a single. So to say that ship to South America is not like North America. It's a completely different thing. So it's a mistake to believe that it's a one single region, because it's not.
Well, explain to me, Demo, with Panama as kind of, I'm going to say, the distribution hub to South America. Explain to me a little bit about what the term that I heard earlier, the Panama Free Zone, and the role that plays into distribution to South America.
Okay, let me start by saying that, first of all, Panama is the narrowest point in the Americas continent, right? Okay. Because of that, we have something that we call our logistics backbone, which is the Panama Canal.
Of course.
Yeah, the Panama Canal gives us a tremendous advantage because all the ships going from one ocean to the other have to cross. People say that close to 5% of the global economy cross the Panama Canal. So with that said, the country has built an infrastructure around the canal, ports, airports, railways, special economic zones,
Mhm.
And this specific one where I am at is called the Cologne Free Trade Zone. The Cologne Free Trade Zone is a special economic zone that was built or created back in 1949.
Okay.
At that time, Panama had this American part of it, right? There was the old canal zone. There was a territory that was owned by the United States, was like a country within the country, right? So in that specific zone or area, the laws that rules that state was the law of the state of Louisiana. So back in 1947 and 48, the economy of the city of Cologne was really depending on the ships that were related to the Second World War. So after the war, the city of Cologne became into a depression. So a group of entrepreneurs were trying to find a way to build something to generate jobs. So they found or they hear about this law in the state of Louisiana that was the law of the free zone. So they get that law, they just get it translated and say, okay, we were going to build a free zone. And they did it. And that group was led by the president of the country at the time. So they built this free zone. And the purpose of the free zone is to create jobs, not to get taxes.
Okay.
So with that law, from that time, it started becoming more and more attractive for companies. So, and I need to say this: a lot of people say that this is a tax haven, but the reality is tax haven, yeah. So, but the reality is that it's not the purpose of it, because the purpose of this zone is to do business for the region, not for Panama. It's for the region, because Panama is still a very small country. We are close to 4 million people, 4.2, I think. So we are the smallest country in Latin America. So, but out of Panama, you serve Colombia, which is a 50 million market, or Chile, or Dominican Republic, or Guatemala, or other countries that are way bigger than Panama. So this free zone, the purpose is to serve the countries in the region. So we got the chips coming from all over the world, mainly from China, of course. And then we receive the goods. And then from here, we re-export the chips, taking advantage of the current frequencies of the canal. Because what this gives us is a reliability in service. We have resilience, because this never stops, because the ships doesn't stop crossing and coming. So all these international ports that are private, so we don't have these strikes, these kind of things, move really in a very secure way the products. So a lot of multinationals, actually, I think at least 7 or 8 of the top 10 global pharmaceutical companies have their regional inventories seated in Panama, in the free zone.
Wow.
So, and companies like Pfizer, for example, have been in that free zone for over 70 years.
70?
70 years, 70. And yeah. And many of the companies, the Japanese electronic companies started in the 70s, in the 70s in the free zone, the Sony's, the Kenwoods, the Panasonics, all those Japanese companies start their growth in Latin America out of Panama, out of that free zone. So there are still all the sporting goods shoes, the Nikes, the Adidas, the New Balances, Skechers, all those big names, Under Armour, all those have the regional inventories in the free trade zone.
So each one of those large companies has, is it safe for me to say, well, they've got products and distribution centers in Panama?
Yeah. Mainly run by 3PLs. Some of them belongs to them. But the important thing is that they run their businesses in this region out of Panama.
So what is the advantage of working through Panama? Why don't I just go and send products to to these different countries? What's the problem with just going to these different countries, and as opposed to what's the benefit of some of the things that IPL, the problems that IPL solves of going through Panama and the free zone?
Certainly, there are some products that are sold in big quantities that you can ship a full container of one product from the manufacturing plant to the country, and that happens. But in reality, there are many other products that cannot be bought into that bigger amounts. And the other thing is that, global companies have global vendors. So they have vendors all over the world. So a single vendor or product cannot send or ship one single product to all the region because there are small markets. So what happens in Panama is that we mix or we consolidate product from different vendors from all over the world, and we build a new container mixed. For example, IPL have a customer, is a well-known fashion company that we receive products from different plants in China. And they produce, let's say there is one vendor that only produce belts, and the other just shoes, and the other just hats, let's say. So when we ship those products to the stores, we need to fill an order that is, the t-shirt black S or M and XL, and in certain quantities. So we need to build those orders to fulfill to fulfill what that specific store is looking for. That is impossible to be done on the manufacturing plants because there is not one manufacturing, there are, I don't know, 20 or 30, right? So we give a service helping the customer just to consolidating products just to meet the demand. And the other thing is that we also, our main business actually is to perform value-add services for those products. That means that, for example, for this specific customer, we put the price tickets in the currency of the country where we are shipping to. We put the anti-theft alarms. Even though in other countries are required, you mentioned about these rules of import regulations. There are some countries that require a sued label with the information of the importer of records in that specific country. That is impossible to be done on China in a manufacturing plant because it's a fraction of all the order. So that fraction needs to be processed. So what we do, we have a team of a team member with sewing machines. They are just sewing labels printed with the number of the importer of record, the physical address, and the name. Because in the customs authority in that specific country, they will check if that product doesn't have that label, sued, because it's textile, it won't allow that product to be imported. If we say non-textile, need to have a adhesive label. So it's a lot of services that we perform in order to help our customers to cross those non-tariff barriers.
Wow.
And put the product in the hand of the end customer. That's what we do. That's our main area of expertise.
So if I understand what you're saying, Demo, that if I owned a retail fashion store here in the United States, but part of my inventory is being manufactured in China or Vietnam, and this inventory that I'm, that is being, accumulated, that needs to get to South America, to build that order, because we've got shirts here in the States made in the USA. We've got belts possibly made, let's say in Vietnam. We've got shoes that are made in China, but each one of these somewhat individual apparels need to be built in order. One order to get to my retail outlets in South America. So they would come to you. And now that you've built the order, you've got to look through to make sure that each of those items are correctly labeled and, to capture it, meet the regulations of each of those countries. And that requires, even if they have to sew a tag in, you do that as well.
We do that. And another important topic is that in this free zone is free, so there is no tax, there is no import tax, there is no export tax, there is no sales tax for re-exports. So what happens is that once you put a product into a market, you need to pay the taxes. And if you are not selling that product in a specific market, you want to re-export it, right? But it's almost impossible. The customs regulations in almost all Latin America, including Panama, not the free zone, but Panama, the fiscal territory, is very hard to re-export something that already paid taxes. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of money. So it's not manageable. So what happens is that our customers, they bought product not for a specific market, they bought for a region.
Okay.
That's why it's regional inventory. It's not local inventory. So
Right.
they play with the demand, whatever that specific country wants to, or they experience a growing all the sales of that specific product, then they ship it. They don't want to ship a product that won't be sold because they will lose it. They will need to scrap that. So, and that is possible because going a little back on the connectivity on the frequencies, because you can build an order and you can have it in Colombia in 24 hours, or you can have it in Peru in 72 hours, right? So
right.
you can do all that, but you can also put it in that market pretty close, pretty soon. It's not shipping from China, a month and something from distance. It's days, so months over days. So Panama, it's a pretty simple place to pivot your product, your demand, to meet whatever the demand is.
So let me bring that map up again here real quick.
Yeah.
So here we've got the different, is it safe to say the different regions within South America? So I've got Venezuela, I've got Colombia, we've got Peru, Ecuador, Brazil. Now, let's say I've got, I own the retail outlet, and we've got four different or three different T-shirts that we want to sell, but we don't know how they're going to sell, and we don't know who's going to buy. We've got, let's say we've got like a red, we've got a blue, we've got a yellow, we've got black, right? But we don't know who's going to buy what or what's going to resonate within these different countries. What do I do?
Well, the strategy that we see from our customers, Mike, is that they send a sample to every market and they wait for the reaction. Because a product that people in Peru loves, people in Colombia hates. Same product. So when these customers they see a product that is a hit in a market, then they start selling it out of Panama, not from the country. Because they have a safety inventory in Panama. Again, you don't know where that product is going to be a hit. Probably it's not even in South America. Probably it's in the Dominican Republic. The people there love that blue shirt, so they want thousands of it. So you just put an order to the Dominican Republic, and IPL will pack and ship, and you will be there in 4 days. Right?
Okay.
The product that you thought originally, or your planning team thought that in Chile was going to be a hit, but they hate it.
Okay.
It's an example, but more or less happened that way.
Okay. All right. So it's almost kind of a market test. The ability to hold inventory in one central location, not have to pay taxes on it, import taxes, and to see and to find out what will sell. And
this is not only taxes, Mike, because if you have a partner, maybe the partner will charge you. But if you set up your own warehouse in every country, then you have another problem. You have landed costs. You have expenses, and a product that you're not selling it. So why to have that? So you rely on a partner. You put the product into a safe place that you can move it. And not only, to be honest, is the capacity is not only to distribute to Latin America. I have myself shipped product to the Middle East.
Oh, okay.
Because the inventory was sitting here, and my customer found a customer in Dubai. They just ship it.
Okay.
Because there are frequencies.
Yes.
You can ship to Africa. You can ship to Europe. You can ship to the US. because you can reach all those markets because we got the frequencies, we got the ships, is there. The capacity is there.
Okay.
So you use it if you need it.
Okay. So Panama doesn't deal just with South America.
Of course, it's, let's say, 95%.
Right.
But we also serve the US when needed. We also ship to Europe and to other countries when needed. But the reality is that our main markets are, getting your map. Brazil is not served commonly from Panama because Brazil is too big, and they have a solo market like Mexico. But all the rest are pretty well served out of Panama.
Okay. So, and it sounds like most of the organizations that you focus on, what are some of the organizations, your market that you focus on, size of companies? Does somebody have to be a part of the Fortune 500 to get your attention?
No, not really. My experience, to be honest, was on those kind of companies.
Okay.
Fortune 500, I was really expert on dealing with those companies. But now in IPL, we are not focused on that also. We are mainly focused on mid-size or small-size companies that want to do business in the region. They have customers, they have a good product that this market want, but they don't know how to do it. They don't have the experience. So we find there is a market, very interesting market of business owners that they need an advice like we can do. We can give them because we have all the experience doing this. So a small company or mid-sized company, you name probably I don't know what is the typical size you believe?
Well, I would think that if you're talking, small to mid-size organizations, you're looking anywhere from, I'd say employee size, maybe to 50 to 300 people.
Yeah, 100%.
In that range. Revenue, 50 to close to 200 million in revenue.
Yeah, exactly. And let me explain you why. If you are probably bigger than that, you probably have a strong relation or a contract with a global 3PL. And when you're looking for service, you are going to go with them. And then probably they will call me, but yeah, that's true. That's one of our business strategies. We work for global 3PLs also as partner, but it's easier for us to talk to another business owner. They tell us their challenges, and they feel more comfortable talking with people like them.
Okay.
But we have the expertise, we have the network, we have all the relationships in the area to not only to be in Panama, but to make the international transportation, the customs processes, and also the door-to-door delivery in Latin America. So what we offer is it's an end-to-end service to these kind of companies. A small manufacturing company out of Georgia. They have a beautiful furniture products they want to sell, or from Texas, and they have a customer in Peru or in Colombia. So we can help those guys. We can help them because we exactly have the way to do it in a not expensive way.
Okay.
In a secure platform with all the visibility that the business require, so they can run their business in a remote control way from wherever they have their manufacturing plant or their business in the US or Canada. We can perform. Actually, we don't have any company representatives in our company. All businesses run through systems and through platforms. They know exactly what is going on.
Okay, so you're giving these small, mid-size organizations an opportunity to compete.
Yeah.
In South America with the Fortune 500. And from what you're telling me, it almost sounds like the reason some of the the larger organizations, I'm hesitant to say dominate the market, is quite simply because the small to medium size don't know how or are not familiar with the complexities to get their product to those markets, those different countries, regions. But you can now give them access to South America, to the different regions at a competitive price, and they can now open up new markets. Do I get it?
Yeah, you get it pretty right. And other thing that is that those global companies, if they want to go to market or they want to do something new, they just call a big four consultant, right? And they have the money to afford a study. But a mid-sized or small company cannot do that. So
Right.
what we do, Mike, is that we gave them the advice, probably will be more accurate
Mhm.
than these, top global consulting firms, because we are here. We know
Right.
this market better than anybody else. We know, we know what we're doing. So and we don't charge for that. Our selling style is consulting selling, right?
Okay.
We understand the problem. I just had a meeting today with a company, a pretty big company, that they want to grow in this region, but they don't know where to start with, and they choose just the wrong place to start.
They chose the wrong place.
Yes.
Okay.
So we noticed, we heard that when they were telling us that, okay, we did that because of this. Say it was a big mistake, of course, but we can fix it. We can help this company to grow their business, a very well-known company, and this is beautiful for us. This is the kind of customers we love, because we can add value, Mike. We can
Okay.
help them to grow, because it's our purpose, our mission, to help our customers to grow, and if they grow, we grow. So I'm really happy with these opportunities when I understand that they don't know what they need for grow. So
Mhm.
I just need the vision. I just need what they want, and I can help.